Can I just pull the conversation back to just, what are you saying that morality, that art should be moral? I mean, the fact that there may be kindness in the world, and maybe you want to promote kindness, are you saying that art should be the flag bearer for this, that it should be the promoter? Aren't there, I mean, why shouldn't art also promote, well not promote, why shouldn't art portray all of those other things you've been describing, like violence and so forth? Why do you want to get it to be kind, or get it to be
We're separating two things. One from portraying something,
yeah,
and something from promoting it. They're quite two different things. So you may portray cruelty in order to promote kindness. You may show the beastly cruelty that may lie underneath the surface, all that sort of thing.
But you would always want it to be trying to do.
I think it's impossible to escape that
kindness.
I think that. I mean, I said before, I believe that all art is optimistic, and I
should be.
No,
it's obviously the case that art isn't all optimistic.
I disagree. I think that art is inherently optimistic. It's doing something rather than nothing.
So I think that's optimistic.
Absolutely.
Well, this is where
genocide optimistic is doing something rather than nothing.
I mean, I have to descend from Matt here. I mean, it seems to me that very few works of art, great works of art, operate on us ethically. And I gave a pile of works of art, some of which were very good, which clearly would have absolutely no ethical impact. What are Rothko's paintings going to do for art? It is a way of unpeeling.
I think by saying that, you're literalising the way that art works. And actually, I know that you're a great. You very much like the idea of art being something which is mysterious and that sort of operates on us in ways that perhaps can't be understood. And I don't think that we need to read artworks in an entirely logical way to understand them. And I think in a way it often gets in the way of understanding artwork.
Hang on. Then, so how do we read artworks? Is this just some privileged, intuitive thing that people have born with? Because
I don't see intuition as something that is.
Okay, so how do you gain that intuition? I mean, if you can't work out how a work of art means something, I mean, if this is kind of just some ethereal notion that's not logical, there's no kind of. I mean, how do you?
I don't see intuition as something that exists at the expense of logic. I see it as enlarged mode of thinking that can include logic. I don't think the human mind is pure logic. I think it's a shell that's added on afterwards to justify behaviour. I think we're largely instinctive creatures, and I think logic is used to justify our behaviour afterwards.
But Matt and Hilary, we have a unique opportunity to ask Jake about, say, Fucking Hell, which has been a work of art that has been widely received and much discussed. It represents all sorts of, I mean, it took you many years to do it once, and then again when it burnt and so on. Clearly you invested a whole pile, you and your brother invested a whole pile of massive commitment and effort into creating this work of art. One interpretation of it is a representation of the cruelty of the world, particularly in the last century. And I wondered, there may be other interpretations, and you may not want to even interpret it yourself, but do you hope that in many ways it would?
Well, I think there's one counter-interpretation, which is not necessarily my interpretation, but you could interpret it as being made by people who think that's a really great thing. The death and maiming and murdering and hanging and flaying and dismembering and eviscerating is a great thing. And actually what these artists want you to do is when they look at it, they want you to say, yeah, that's great. That's really, really good. Not to somehow morally redeem it and say, they've done this awful thing so that you know that it's a bad thing. I mean, it's very interesting on your PowerPoints.
Which is the cat?
Wait, it's very interesting when you say on your... Well, I mean, I'm not going to master the interpretation of my work. I have a point of view about it, but I'm just suggesting that it might be possible to produce a work of art which has every intention, every ambition to produce a nasty work of art without any redemptive economy to it. So it doesn't kind of filter off into this notion of saying, now, are we looking at a bad picture for good reasons, or are we just looking at a bad picture for bad reasons? All I'm saying is that you kind of made this fantastically huge generalisation that all works of art are optimistic. I mean, sorry, but that's kind of
to extend on that.
Well, I mean, anyone who makes such generalised, I think that's quite dodgy. I think it's quite a dodgy thing to do.
I understand it's a provocative thing.
It's not provocative. It's all encompassing and utopian and maybe perhaps a little fascistic.
I think there's something rescuable in that statement. That actually the creating of something with great patience and great care is, in a way, against the tide, against despair. It's something against despair.
Absolutely.